necessary and available may be such it requires high compression ratio to result in very poor volumetric efficiency of the compressor. We know that PD or PS is a one uh, one item in the equation of the volumetric efficiency and or higher discharge temperature. In such cases, multi-stage compression require less total displacement compared to single-stage compression, which lower the compression cost and lower operating cost. Multi-stage compressor system where we are able to reduce the volume of the refrigerant intermediately. That's why it requires the lower capacity of compressor to reduce the operating cost. Let me see. Now we are talking about a compound that is multi-stage compression system. Here the two compressors are connected in series. When we want more capacity, we put a true compressor, multi-compressor in pair. When we want more compression ratio, when we require more compression ratio, the two compressors are connected in series. So evaporator gas is going to the first stage compressor. Then there is a one exercise known interstage cooler. So interstage cooler, after interstage cooling the refrigerant, we are sending that again to the second stage compressor, and from that it is going to condenser, then expansor, receiver, expansor valve again going to evaporator. It contains additional components such as desuperheater and or liquid subcooler. Here it is desuperheater only in this diagram. Now let's see. Now somebody will ask me, what's the compression ratio for single stage and multi-stage? Friends, it is very difficult to say because it depends upon refrigerant. As I have also already shown to you, in case of the ammonia, the discharge temperature at minus 40 plus 40 is 200 degrees centigrade, and R404A is only 60 degrees. It is difficult to say and specify what should be compressor ratio require two-stage or three-stage refrigerant system. It is impossible to recommend one figure of compression ratio for multi-stage compression requirement. It depends on refrigerant and its property. Generally, it can be decided on the basis of slope of isoentropy line in superheat region of pH diagram. You can see this line, isoentropy line in superheat region of the ammonia is very much inclined. And while this is just has more angle and it is going vertical, near to vertical. So this slope of the isoentropy line can decide whether we have to go for how many stage of compressor. In short, refrigerant having the low angle of isoentropy line with the x-axis may have the higher discharge temperature and temperature ratio compared to high angle. Table shows discharge temperature at different evaporating temperature of phase. Let me see now. This table I have prepared to give the guidance how the discharge temperature is changing with the refrigerant to refrigerant due to property, its own property. If you see R22, the CPO CV is 1.236 and evaporating temperature is 0, then discharge temperature at 40 degree condensing temperature only 63. Then minus 20 is 75 and minus 90, minus 40 is 90. But if you consider the 404, CPC is 1.166 and discharge temperature at the operating temperature is 50 degree, then minus 20, 58 degree, and only 60 degree in case of 40 degree centigrade. 410A has got more discharge temperature compared to 404 and 134A. But ammonia is much higher. You can see in 0 degree centigrade evaporating temperature, ammonia discharge temperature is 95 and minus 20 degree centigrade 145 and minus 40 degree centigrade is 200. Now, what is desirable and safe discharge temperature? Desired maximum discharge gas temperature is 130 degrees centigrade with the mineral oil, because it depends upon the property of oil again. Otherwise, it will reach near the flash point and it will vaporize or wax due to wax. There is a lot of problem. So desired gas temperature is 133 degrees centigrade in case of mineral oil. Now, second, I will say what are the second advantage, I will say, of multi-stage compression system. You may assume that we require two evaporating temperature in the plant. One plant requires the plus 4 degrees centigrade temperature, one in cold room, and second cold room we may require minus 20 degree for the frozen product. What to do now? Whether we should go to independent system or we should have some different type of system. In that case, we can utilize two-stage compression system, two compressors in series with the two-stage compressor system by putting or adding the 4 degrees centigrade evaporating refrigerant suction gas in the second compressor, and we can do. You can see this is a diagram showing to you that this is from the low stage evaporator. It is going to first stage evaporator, then it is going to it can go into the subcooler. I will discuss about the subcooler later of this lecture in detail. And from subcooler it is cooled and again fit to the suction of the second stage compressor. Similarly, a second evaporator, there is a second evaporator that is also suction gas of second evaporator, evaporating gas is going to the same compressor. So we have combined here the discharge gas of the first stage compressor and the suction gas of the second evaporator. And then after condenser, it is going to receiver, and receiver it is going to directly to evaporator of higher temperature. And after subcooling the liquid, we are sending it to the first stage, evaporator. There is additional refrigerant requirement near the evaporating temperature corresponding to intermediate suction pressure, which can be most efficiently handled by multi-stage compression system. Common example is the refrigerant required for cooling of milk and hardening of ice cream in a dairy. For cooling of the milk, generally the evaporating temperature is 0 degree or the minus 5 degrees centigrade. And when we want to harden the ice cream, that time the temperature required or evaporating temperature required is minus 30 degree or minus 35 degrees centigrade. In such cases, when both the applications are to be combined, we require this type of system. Now, intercooler. Let me now understand what is the function of the intercooler. Intercooling between the two stages of compression reduces the work of compression per kg of vapor, because we are removing the superheat of the gas of the first stage discharge gas and making it a saturated temperature and the pressure. That's why it reduces the volume. That increases our efficiency. For refrigerant compressor, water-cooled intercooler is not usually cold enough. Now, just I try to put here that we may not think like in condenser we put the water and the same type of water can be used interstage cooler. It is not, because interstage cooler temperature is slightly lower than the water available today in India. Intercooler with the liquid refrigerant decreases the total power requirement when ammonia is a refrigerant, but not when HFC or CFC are used, because there is a less superheat in this type of refrigerant. But in ammonia has got more superheat, so it reduces the volume and it is appreciably reduce the power requirement. Now let's see how the intercooler is working. This diagram we have seen similarly earlier, but not on the pH diagram. So I have repeated here, same diagram here in schematic way and explain how it works here. You can see from evaporator the LP receiver, LP compressor, it has been compressed 2 number, and then again there is a expansion valve. An expansion valve injecting the liquid, and putting to that gas and mixture of the liquid in the HP cylinder, and then it has been discharged to the condenser. That has been shown here. You can see that all the point you can see here 1 to 2. That is again it has been put to saturator temperature and pressure. The gas has been converted, and then it is compressed. So there is a saving of the work done of this much quantity. You can see here, friends. Here we have injected the liquid at a higher evaporating temperature and reduce the superheat of the gas, because the superheat gas has got higher pressure. That's why we are able to inject the liquid at higher pressure and remove the superheat of the gas. Of course, metering system is required how much injection should be done, and that's why you can see one sensor has been provided which can measure the traces of the liquid passing through the line and that bulb, thermostatic expansor valve bulb, and see that the high pressure compressor should not have any liquid hammer. Advantage of this system, it is a very simple system. It requires only one small expansion valve and one connection to the liquid, and it has been connected to the suction of the second stage, suitable for single flame multi-cylinder compressor. Friends, when we have got a multi-cylinder compressor and we decide that the 4-cylinder is working for low pressure and 2-cylinder are working for the high pressure, we can easily accommodate this type of gas intercooler. And advantage that it reduces discharge temperature of the first gas as we want, or even the final also as we want. But it reduces efficiency because we are injecting a liquid refrigerant and again putting it for compressor. Subcooling of liquid refrigerant not possible. If I want to improve the efficiency of the system by subcooling the liquid condenser liquid, it is not possible in this system. It only removes the superheat of discharge gas. Now there are liquid subcooler also available. My intends to introduce all type of intercooler to you, and then work out which is the best and give the more maximum efficiency to us in two-stage compressor system. There is a liquid subcooler required to cool the liquid refrigerant also equivalent to intermediate section temperature which reduce the flash gas. When we do the subcooling of liquid before the expansion valve, naturally we have taken some enthalpy, and that's why the flash vapor will be reduced. Gas generated from the subcooler carried by the high stage compressor and the reduced total power requirement for the compressor heat rejection. I will try to explain this point again on the pH diagram because it is easy to explain on the pH diagram most of the time. There are two types of liquid subcooler, flash type and closed type. Let's see both the construction of both the intercooler. Fine, this is flash type subcooler. Here there is a vessel. There is a vessel. In vessel we are putting the discharge gas directly inside, and due to superheat of the gas, it is get bubble out. There is a liquid refrigerant available there, and due to heat of the superheat gas, it is bubble out and going to the second stage compressor. But at the same time, liquid refrigerant is available to us, and that we can take to the expansion valve and to the evaporator. So here the liquid refrigerant of the condenser that we have put here, it has reduced the pressure and and it has reduced the pressure, it has reduced the temperature, and then it has been fed to expansion valve. So if you see in the pH diagram, this is the thing. This condenser liquid refrigerant has been expanded up to this point in intercooler, and then again only we have taken a liquid refrigerant to the evaporator, and then we use it for the refrigerant system. If we have not done this thing, then you can see if we expand the liquid refrigerant from 1 to this pressure, then we may get additional this much flash vapor. That means compressor required to handle this much additional flash vapor in the first stage. We have reduced that flash vapor and increase our efficiency. This we already discussed, so I have not discussing again here. I would like to give the thought on this and then open the topic for discussion, friend. Because discussion is give the more clarity and the more knowledge to both them, or not only participant but the tutor also. So I will do that way. Advantage of this is very simple system, least cost because only one vessel is required, and highest efficiency. How I say highest efficiency, that we'll discuss at a later in tabulate form, so you will understand that. Disadvantage: subcooled liquid refrigerant pressure reduces to intermediate pressure. Understand this one. Hence, less pressure difference available in liquid line and expansion valve. Means pressure difference between the expansion valve, pressure difference both the side of expansion valve is reduced. What is the problem? There is a problem because then you require the expansion valve of higher capacity for same flow. Because the pressure is less, the size of the expansion valve require slightly bigger. Increase the flash vapor before expansion valve. Can you understand this statement? Increase the flash vapor before expansion valve because the intermediate temperature of the liquid refrigerant is quite low, set 0 degree centigrade or minus 4 degree centigrade. So, and in atmospheric temperature 30 degree, 40 degree, so it may generate the flash vapor due to the poor insulation or poor installation. And that flash vapor entering the expansion valve created a problem. So these are two main disadvantages of this system. Now this is closed subcooler. What is meaning of closed subcooler? It meaning that the condenser refrigerant is cooled sensibly in the coil, and we are feeding to the expansion valve at the same pressure, which is condensing pressure. Let's see. This is a closed intercooler, so liquid refrigerant coming from the receiver and expanding and given here. Now this coil is connected with the receiver, and after cooling it is going here. It is a closed system. That's why it is a closed subcooler. Otherwise, system remains same. Gas cooler, we added one coil of liquid refrigerant which is doing the cooling, but part of the liquid is fed to the subcooler, which get evaporated and taken back to the compressor. And here you can see the pH diagram. It shows like a 1 to 2 is a subcooling of the liquid refrigerant at the same condensing pressure. Only we have reduced condensing temperature. We have reduced the temperature, not the pressure. Here we have reduced the temperature of the liquid refrigerant in subcooler, but the pressure remains same. So there is not a much problem of the generation of the flash vapor in this. And then it is expanded, but at the end of expansion, the generation of the flash vapor here is slightly more compared to the earlier system which we used, because part of the flash vapor has been part of the flash vapor was taken from the intermediate pressure to the compressor. Advantage. Liquid refrigerant subcool at a condensing pressure. Less flash gas produced. Doing the transfer from condenser to expansion valve, not after expansion valve. In the pipeline of the liquid refrigerant, less flash gas is produced. Liquid line and expansion valve of smaller size because we are transferring the liquid at a higher pressure, so our liquid line can be smaller and the expansion valve can be smaller because we have got more pressure difference available between the expansion valve in input and output. Less efficient than the flash subcooler system has more flash vapor available after the expansion. Friends, now question coming to us. What should be intermediate pressure? In our book, we have read many times, intermediate pressure is under root of PS into PD. I think Sparks and Delio, any book you refer, it is specified that intermediate pressure is under root of PS plus TD is advisable. But there are many research papers published on this, and they say it is not, it should be plus something extra. So Corbel suggests alternative equation that PS plus, under root of PS into PD plus 0.35 bar. While Anderson suggests the intermediate pressure is TC over TE into PS of under root of PS into PD. These are two different formula I have read in the handbook of Stoker. I give the reference. In that handbook, they specify these are two suggestions for intermediate pressure. It is not just like under root. P in intermediate pressure, PS suction pressure, PD discharge pressure, TC condensate temperature, and evaporating temperature. Now, what will discharge temperature? That is most problematic. We know the isoentropic discharge temperature, but it is not a correct. We say for the vehicle the expansion compression is taking place isoentropic, and it is on the entropy line. But practically it is not correct because we are not able to remove all the heat continuously, and it is water jacketed or the air cool also compressor. So there are many issues. There are many issues. Friction are more. That is also increasing the work done, adding the heat also. When we compare calculated value of discharge temperature using the pH chart with the practical reading, we find significant difference since the compressor is not isotropic. Compressor is not isotropic. And final temperature approximately 20 degrees centigrade higher than the calculated one. Again, in the books, many thumb rule are given. That is Stoker. If you see any book on refrigeration, you'll find this. A quick rule for thumb for the ammonia, T discharge is 2.5 into TC minus PE. The 2.5 times difference of the temperature, the operating temperature and condensing temperature. The 2.5 times. It is mentioned for the ammonia. Now, there is one more alternative available with us. When we want to achieve the low temperature in room or the evaporator, and that alternative is known as a cascade system. In cascade system, that there are the two different systems. One evaporator is working, second system condenser. That is cascade. Both the gases are not mixed in the heat exchanger. Both the gases are separated, remain separate, and could use as a evaporator and use as a condenser. So there is one common equipment, that is heat exchanger, that is used as evaporator and condenser. It is condenser of the one system and the evaporator of the second system. Let's see. This is low temperature evaporator. From that, it is going to compressor. After compressor, it is going to the condenser. So this is what is the condenser of the first system. And from there, it is going to expansion valve, and again cycle is over. While this is the there is second stage compressor, second compressor, where again this becomes the evaporator because it is in condenser they have to take a heat back. In condenser, in condenser of the first stage require heat rejection. Heat rejection is taken by the evaporator of the second stage, and again it go to condenser and through the expansion valve and complete the system. Here there are two different refrigerants also possible, and same refrigerant can be used also. This system also many times is used. It depends upon what is our requirement. When we want very low temperature, this system is more prominent, I will say. It permits to use the two different refrigerants in each cycle of cascade. Friends, today we all are talking about natural refrigerant. And when we talk about natural refrigerant, ammonia and CO2 come in the picture. But as I already explained to you, ammonia has got very high discharge temperature at a higher compression ratio. That's why there is a limitation for the ammonia. And again, evaporating temperature of the ammonia at NTP is not that low as CO2. But in case of CO2, we can get a lower evaporating temperature, but condensing pressure is very, very high. Very, very high. And it's difficult to manage in most of the system. So we started talking about subcritical system and critical system and so many things. Transit system and so many things. And all are doing experiment on that. But this cascade system can be utilized for CO2 and ammonia. In lower stage, we can use a CO2, and higher stage, we may use ammonia. So both are natural gas, and it gives the GWP or the ODP, whatever you want, that most desirable level. And in case of leakage also, there is no problem. Easily available refrigerant. But design is an issue. Design is a very much issue because we are condensing the CO2 at a lower than atmospheric temperature, I will say. And the receiver, the CO2, liquid CO2 temperature is much, much lower than the atmospheric temperature. And in case of heat leakage, there is not a better insulation, not a better system done. It means the vessel can be burst by heat gain from the outside. That's why all are afraid of using this system. But many places this system is also used, putting some safety factor, putting some additional refrigerant system on the basis of temperature. So when temperature shoot up, the secondary system will start and it will condense the CO2 vapor again. If you've seen any installation of LPG or butane and propane with a liquid storage system that are today very much popular. If you go to Kandla or anywhere, we are importing the butane and the propane in liquid form. Earlier, we used to import these gases in high pressure container, but dead weight of the container is very high and we are losing the freight. So recently, not recently, since many years, I have seen that in 91, 92 in Kandla, that they import the propane and butane in liquid form, store in cryogenic vessel, you can say insulated vessel, and keep one standby refrigerant system, so it may suck the vapor from the top and again condensation feed again. So in such type of system, this cascade system is much more useful to us. Let's see the pH diagram. Here you can see the pH diagram. That you can say if this is the ammonia, then ammonia is working here as a evaporator, and this we require to give. The problem is this delta T between this penalty here between 2, 3, and 5. Both can not be same. There we require some delta T for the heat transfer, and that is a penalty in this system. You can see this diagram also. It's same thing. It has been specified here. Everything that this low stage compressor, it is pumping to the heat exchanger, and it works as a condenser, and then again going to the evaporator, and cycle is completed. And similarly, second stage, there is this is evaporator, and from evaporator gets to take to high stage compressor and condenser as is completed. So if we say this is a CO2 compressor system, this is the ammonia compressor system, and both are working. But if whatever refrigerant left out here, CO2 in liquid form, after the condenser, the refrigerant will remain there in condenser. That will, if not properly insulated, or if there is no reference system available to pull the to remove the heat gain from outside, then it may burst. So that requires some safety standard. Advantage: possible to use two different refrigerant, high stage and low stage. Example, ammonia and carbon dioxide. Very simple operation. Both systems working independently. Only heat exchanger is to be designed properly so that one is with the ammonia, one is CO2. No oil return problem. Both systems are independent. So there is no problem with oil return. Many times in the multi-stage compressor system, oil return is a problem. There are two compressors. Both are pumping the oil, and it is mixing in first stage to second stage also. Multi-temperature evaporator is possible here. We can have two temperature evaporator also. Disadvantage: reduction in total efficiency due to penalty in the cascade heat exchanger. First cost is very high. Liquid subcooling difficult. And special design condition required for high pressure at standing condition. That I tried to explain to you. The standing condition, special design condition is required with a safety valve and safety system, and in case of pressure increasing, secondary refrigerant system is required. Let me see now what is the efficiency, what is the COP available with a different system. I have taken example. Real example from the published literature of the manufacturer. Here I consider the Kirloskar-Bek KC72 compressor. That is 7 is the low stage and 2 are the high stage cylinder in that. There are total 9 cylinders. It is 9-cylinder compressor having the 7 low stage cylinder and 2 high stage cylinder. And we have considered saturated condensing temperature is 40 degrees centigrade, saturated suction temperature is minus 40 degrees centigrade, suction superheat 0. Because we are working with a flooded system, so there is no superheat. In ammonia, most of the ammonia plant, they work with the flooded system, so there is no superheat. What is my requirement of refrigeration? 100 kilowatt refrigeration requirement. On the basis of this assumption, I try to work different type of subcooler and find out what capacity and what power consumption will be there. From the actual the performance chart, I have done this job. First, for the flash type subcooler, where we are just injecting the liquid refrigerant intermediately and not doing anything else. And that is most commonly used by the manufacturer, which give 100.24 TR, shaft power requirement 58.24 from the chart. That's why COP is 1.72115. Our requirement per ton of represents 2.043. I have done both the things so that it becomes easy for you to understand. The we require more than 2 kilowatt or TR in case we are going fresh type subcooler and intermediate temperature is minus 5.8 degrees centigrade as per your chart, and the running RPM is 700 RPM. Now, when we are going for closed type subcooler, we are getting 104.78 capacity at certain RPM. I have changed the RPM to get. I have to see that it should be more than 100. It cannot be less than 100. So I have to change the RPM. And then compressor can be operated up to 1000 RPM. And sub power is 61.72. That's why COP is 1.69. This flash type subcooler is which where we are doing the chilling of the liquid refrigerant at intermediate pressure also. Huh? Please remember, don't not misguided. I think that's why. In flash type intercooler is the refrigerant. If I can show you again and again, that you can see this is flash type subcooler. This is first one, which gives maximum efficiency. Now, when we are talking the second type, this is second type, closed subcooler. Closed type subcooler, when we run the compressor at 750 RPM, we get 104.78 TR. It will and consumes 61.72 power, and COP for that is 1.69767, and power requirement 2.072. There is a marginal increase in the power requirement. It is 2.043 to 2.072 is kilowatt requirement per TR, and intermediate temperature 6.4 degrees centigrade, and we require to operate the compressor at 750 RPM. But gas intercooler, which is generally done by the manufacturer, because it is easy to system and it can inbuilt system. That's why it's a gas intercooler they are giving, and that time the capacity compressor 103.78 and sub power is 76.32. Then COP will reduce to 1.359x. You can see that, and power requirement increasing by, you can see 25%, 2.5864. You can see 5 addition is in 2, that is you can see 25% power which requirement increase. Intermediate temperature is 8.5 degrees centigrade and RPM is 850. So here what my intent to tell you, design the system, multi-stage system, where interstage cooling should be more efficient and take minimum power. Even though we discussed three intercooler, gas intercooler, closed subcooler, and flash type subcooler, even though it require the selection considering the power consumption. Of course, site condition. Now we see what are the conclusions. It reduces the discharge temperature. Multi-stage compression system with the intercooler can reduce the discharge temperature, reduce wear and tear of the compressor, reducing the operating cost up to 25%, which we have seen here, my dear friend. If you see a difference between power kWTR, it is going up to 25%. So it reduces the operating cost by 25%. Easy and efficient to operate multi-temperature, multi-evaporator system. And suitable to use natural environmental friendly refrigerant also. Because most of the natural environmental friendly refrigerant has a very low slope in isentropic, and that's why it is more supplied. That's why it is suitable for that. Hence, I try to open the topic for the discussion. And now we can discuss if you have any question or have anything, or if you want to point out, if I missed something point on this subject, we can discuss this point. I keep now this session for the discussion. Any question?
Participants, you can ask the questions if you have.
Sarda sir, NM Bhatt
Yes,
here.
sir. Yeah.
Sir, the question is not directly related to this particular session only, but it is general question.
Yes.
We have been working on alternate refrigerant. So my perception is that wherever you can use the ammonia, ammonia is the best option. So
Yeah.
what is your experience or what is your suggestion on that?
Doctor, I proponent ammonia from 1971, and
Okay.
my experience only with ammonia more, frankly speaking, because in dairy
Okay.
industry all we use ammonia only from the
Okay.
beginning. So
Okay.
ammonia is the best refrigerant. Only we have to take care of that is the safety factor. You know all that it is hazardous, and as per our it is coming some different type of safety standard as passed also. So
Yes, sir.
the design is the important thing that it should not leak. And in case leakage, what type of system we are putting in that with ventilation system, then welding, and in the plant there should be enough space. I think that there is one lecture I had given long back on safety measure required for the ammonia. I can share you that lecture also. 2 years, 3 years back I did the history of Aster, and in that the many safety measures we require to take care of that in design of the equipment. Earlier there is a lot of problem. You can see we have seen many cases of the leakage of ammonia and create a problem, havoc. Even if you see in Ahmedabad, there in Sabarmati court, there's cold room, the ammonia leakage and there's a busting of the receiver. In ammonia, we have to see that the rusting, degradation of the quality of the material, everything should not take, and we should design properly. I know that once I have faced the problem with ammonia in the leakage of the receiver from the welding, it was a crack. And that time we realized that this is a problem. I can see few examples, many examples I have with leakage of ammonia. An accident, I cannot leakage accident. This was, I had a problem with the ammonia long back. And then we decided the first route of the welding should be iron welding only, not electric resistance welding. Because electric resistance welding, the oxidation taking place in the welding and some bubble formation can take place. When we are doing the argon shielding, the oxidation of the metal and the rod is not taking place. So this type of thing we have to understand and we have to implement. Same problem I faced once in the Vadilal when I was working in the Vadilal, and we designed in Boisar the plant and install it. The pipe burst, liquid pipe burst on the way. Then that was C-class pipe taken from the Tata. Everything it was perfectly all right, done by me, so I know very well. Then we called the Tata, also from the Jamshedpur, the Tata engineer from Jamshedpur. We decide, and then he has mentioned that, sir, don't use 1.5 inch pipe ERW, up to 1.5 inch ERW pipe. Use only simplest. Because we are not able to take 100% testing of the ERW pipe, even the C class, okay, heavy duty, we recommend that you use a seamless pipe up to 1.5 inch. And I think our book, if we refer any American book or any international book, they have specified this thing. You use a seamless pipe up to this level. So my dear friend, we require to take all these precaution measure in installation of ammonia plant. I don't have photograph, but I can show you the photograph. I installed one plant in 2000 in Nagpur, ammonia plant. And till after 20 years, there is no accident taken place. You see the photograph, everything, you will find excellent installation done by us. That it was maintained by the owner also. The two things are available. It is to be maintained by the owner also. because ammonia leakage is the main issue in the system.
Yes.
Anything else?
Sir, you meant to say that,
Huh?
sir, you meant to say that we have been using this ammonia for many years. So
Yeah.
now I think the technology is also developed. There is a lots of development in manufacturing technology
Lots of
also.
them. I can give
So
one
now-
only example. Earlier, most of the flanges were bolted in ammonia. Welded valve not available. Weldable valve not available. That's why
Okay.
leakage was taking place from the gland, so from the gasket,
Yes.
I will say, and the
Yes,
gland
sir.
of the valve. Now the weldable valve is available, imported also, Indian also available, and we are able to reduce the 50-60% of the leakage in the ammonia in the plant. So there is a lot of things happening, and a lot of things happen in that. Earlier we used the very high, you can say the MS coil for the evaporator, getting rusted, so many things. But now we use the SS also and aluminum also. So
Yes, sir.
we have reduced its corrosion on that. The problem with the ammonia plant is, friend, is that ammonia is a very good affinity for the water, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And when there is a leakage or there is something, the air enter inside the system, which contains the water also, isn't it?
Yes.
Moisture,
Yes.
and it will mix with ammonia. So when you are working with the ammonia plant, ammonia system, you have to work out that thing, how to remove the water from ammonia. Water from ammonia in after some time also. If you recollect, in transformer we are putting the oil, and oil required to again regenerate after a year or so.
Yes, sir.
Same thing, we should have some system where the ammonia is regenerated again and again, and we can remove the moisture from the ammonia. Otherwise, it creates the mud inside the suction pipe. I have seen many times. So we have to take care of all this. Is ammonia available in as a refrigerant standard? Tell me, doctor.
Pardon,
Have you
sir?
seen ammonia is available in refrigerant quality? Have you
No,
checked it?
most probably, no,
Ammonia refrigerant quality is not at all available.
not
It is
at all available.
commercial quality. It is commercial quality from the fertilizer plant only available.
Yes, sir.
So first of thing in ammonia, we have to see that how to improve, how to reduce the, improve the quality of the ammonia as a refrigerant. I
So
have discussed this. I have
that is
discussed with
also,
the supplier
that,
of
yes, sir.
ammonia. Why you are not giving the refrigerant quality ammonia where there is no other non-conductive gases available in that? But nobody is, it is a commercial market and nobody is paying to higher cost. But as an R&D man, as an institute, I can say we have to work on this line, how to improve the ammonia quality and make it as a refrigerant.
Okay.
That is the first requirement I consider, to supply the ammonia as a ammonia quality as a refrigerant quality, not the commercial quality available from the fertilizer plant.
Got it, sir. So I think that is surprise, na? Because ammonia is also widely used in R&AC plants, but
Everywhere, I
everywhere.
thought maximum in, you can see maximum installation you will find in quantity is ammonia,
Yes,
not
sir.
HFC.
Not
Not
HFC.
HFC. I say it is ammonia, and today we are arguing that ammonia should be made suitable for the air conditioning also. And Mr. Panchpai has given many lectures showing that the ammonia is used as in air conditioning many airport also. So
Okay.
ammonia is very interesting refrigerant, and I like it. And I can share to anything whatever you require.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Any
I
other?
will. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
So actually, sir, in fact, why I raised the question is because Tuesday I delivered a lecture on the alternate refrigerant in domestic refrigerator.
Yeah.
So there I made a statement that if possible, ammonia is the best. If you
Yeah.
can use, one should go for ammonia rather than searching for any other refrigerant. In domestic refrigerator, because of the property, you can't go for ammonia. That's why we have to look for another alternative. So you supported my statement. Thank you. Yeah.
Anything
Any
else?
other question from the other participant? if there is silent for next 30 seconds, we will close the session. We'll presume that everything is understood and there is no question from any of the participants, and we'll close the session.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. What is the thought process when you wanted to move from multi-pressure system to cascade system?
What is the?
Let's say you are working well with the certain temperature at certain low temperature also, and you are working with multi-pressure system with a single refrigerant. And what bifurcate the movement from multi-pressure to cascade?
I think
If the temperature range is not that much.
Yeah, I understood your point. When we are going, like ammonia, let's take an example of we are discussing. Ammonia, if you go less than minus 40, 45 degree temperature, it works under vacuum. If you see the property of the ammonia, the operating temperature and the operating pressure of the ammonia at minus 40 or less than 40 is under vacuum. And generally, we do not prefer to work under vacuum because in the vacuum, there are more chances of the entering the outside non-compressible gases inside the compressor for any joint. So we consider that whenever there is a positive pressure or the 0 psi G, till that time we use that refrigerant as a safer.
Okay.
Now I say that, so what to do now? When we say natural refrigerant, that's why the CO2 is the better, which can go up to minus 70, minus 80, whatever we require. But CO2 has a high discharge pressure, very high discharge. I think the 900 to 1000 pounds, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, condensing pressure of the CO2 900 to 1000 pounds maybe. So it is very difficult to work on that. But it is best efficient refrigerant at a low temperature. Liquid has a very high heat transfer ratio, everything is better. So reduce that one. The condensing pressure of the CO2, we say you require cascading. That is, you can put ammonia up to certain limit and remaining is CO2. But it requires certain safety consideration also. Even today, if you see, when we are talking about this vaccine, all are talking about vaccine, Pfizer vaccine and that Oxford vaccine. What vaccine temperature is required for the Pfizer?
No, sir.
I think it is minus 70 or so.
Okay.
Oxford requires not that much. Oxford requires 0 to 4 degree, but Pfizer requires very low temperature for the storage. And how to achieve that? That's why we use two different type of refrigerant in cascading and try to achieve it. That is the way we require. Because one refrigerant may not be suitable for our ambient condensing or the ambient or the water condensing and giving the whatever the lowest temperature required evaporating. That time two different type of refrigerant we have to use. Okay, sir?
Okay. Thank you.
So we appreciate there are no more questions. So on behalf of this entire team, I'm very much thankful to Sarda sir for such a fruitful session. Thank you very much, sir. You can stop sharing your screen and.
Thank you to all. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.